Hey honey bunches, welcome to another video. Today I'm doing a vegan fridge and pantry tour, yet I've whacked them mostly in there because I do live at home with my family. I do like 90% of the cooking, so 90% of what we have is vegan, but there's like a few things here and there that aren't. So let's get started with the fridge in the main fridge non-freezer section. And this is a pretty well stocked fridge for us. We shop at a number of different places and I made sure that this was like a full fridge tour for you, so it's pretty accurate of all the different things we go through. So on the bottom shelf here we have some like aloe vera that I sometimes put in smoothies, aloe vera juice, that's pretty widely available, which is kind of bizarre. Then we just have plant milk, that's some like mineral extract that my mum has, and there's normal cow's milk, and which obviously isn't vegan, and some passata, and we do SodaStream so we don't have to buy so many plastic bottles because my parents love mineral water. Up on this shelf is where we have like the things of jars of stuff, so olives, capers, dairy-free pesto, which is great on like pizzas, and like pesto cauliflower wings. They're a huge favourite of my family's. Veganese as well is pretty much the best vegan mayonnaise that we have access to. There's some okonomiyaki sauce. This actually is vegan, even though everything else in okonomiyaki, apart from the vegetables, is not vegan. There's some korma paste for quick and easy curries, and then some spicy kimchi, which is great when you've got a funny tummy and also want to ensure you don't have a funny tummy. That Peace and Love and Vegetables brand is really good too. You could just eat that with the spoon, it's so delicious. It's from Byron Bay. That's very Australian and hippie and vegan of me, but there you go. Dill cucumbers are really great for chickpea tuna sandwiches, and jalapenos come in handy when you're wanting to make like a cashew cheese sauce. And apologies for the random fridge beeps that come up every now and again in this video. My fridge was not too happy that I was holding it super open for a long time. So up here we have some mustard, also great in making cashew cheese. Tahini, I most commonly use that for like drizzling over sweet potatoes. Then there's some tandoori paste, which is really fun to marinate TVP and whack on pizzas, so like a mock chicken thing. I know jarred garlic is like a crime, but it's the most readily available and reliable source of organic garlic. All the garlic mostly in mainstream supermarkets is from China, and it's like all white, and that's not that great. Harissa, that's vegan, good for like marinating cauliflowers. Thai green curry paste. Then we have some probiotics, other skin supplement stuff, and this random dairy-free secret sauce, which I wish it had more information on it because it just says secret sauce and it doesn't say what it'd be good on. And my parents said, oh, have this, you'd like this because it's vegan and a mystery ingredient, so I'm yet to know what to do with that, but it was a nice gesture from them as a gift. Up here we have like tofu vegan cheeses and whatnot. So this is a like a mozzarella style cheese, and there's some firm tofu there and some remaining veggie mince stuff. That's the Veggie Delights brand. It's really good for lasagnas and spaghetti bolognese and gosling and all sorts of things. Then we have some dumpling wrappers. I haven't made dumplings in ages, and there the fridge goes again. So the remaining thing, little container there, has like all the non-dairy ingredients. So from this first side of the fridge, I'd say that's a pretty successful ratio of vegan to non-vegan stuff. And with like a few easy switches on like the vegan pesto and things, it was, I don't know, I don't think people are noticing in my family too much that their parmesan pesto is missing. I won't really show you the extent of like everything that's in our veg and fruit drawer, although like beetroot in the fruit drawer, you know, we just kind of put whatever wherever. It's a lot of plastic, and usually we do take reusable like fruit and veg bags to the supermarket. It's actually like one of the things that is easiest to forget, because unless you have them in your bag, like handbag, but they kind of take up space. So excuses, I know, but that's something we need to work on because that's a heck of a lot of plastic. That's a marinated tempeh bacon doing its thing there that I was working on for a recipe, and there's some more SodaStream bottles for bubbly water. And it's a less plastic measure, I suppose. So that's miso paste, that's some vegan falafel. At the back there was like some pre-cooked beetroot, which is really good for gnocchi and salads. more veg. That's Harvey, our dog's dog food. He's not vegan, unfortunately. It's not really my decision though, because he's a family dog. That's vegan butter, and that's like half a shelf of flax seeds, different nuts, some dried fruit, but mostly different sorts of nuts, because if you store them in the fridge they do last a lot longer, especially in Australia. Like, we have a fluctuating in temperature, so it's nice to have them constantly chilled. On the top shelf we have some water and other beers and random stuff that I don't really engage with. Boa powder, Dulce flakes, that's a chai like extract thing. You can make a lot of cups of chai because it's all really concentrated. This is like, I guess, the vegan-y dairy section. So what's here? That's vegan parmesan at the back. That's a staple that I have. It's just really good to have on pasta, so you don't feel like you're missing out when everyone else is having maybe parmesan cheese. Also lasagnas, I put it in a lot of things, my own pesto. That nudie thing, don't get that. It's vegan, but it's not a great recipe. They need to work on it. It tastes like artificial banana. That's some vegan pesto as well, coriander kale, from Terra Madre, which is one of the places we shop at, like once every 6 weeks to stock up on stuff. That was some cashew cheese, out of shot, and there are 2 types of coconut yogurt, which my mum's totally transitioned to. She loves that with some muesli in the morning, and that's some tempeh, which should probably go next to the tofu. That doesn't make much sense, but that's pretty much what our fridge looks like. Usually we would have a lot more leftovers in there, but I guess I've done a lot of cooking lately and didn't feel like, with the cookbook I'm referring to. So onto the freezer. Now the freezer isn't like nicely laid out, so I'll just mainly tell you rather than show you, because yes, it's a bit of a jumble. So on the left there we have a lot of berries, acai, mixed berries, for smoothies, for like raw desserts with cashews, those sweet cashews you saw in the fridge. And then at the bottom here we have some frozen coconut meat, which I bought to make one of Laura Miller's frozen raw desserts with. Not frozen. Yes, so onto this bit we have some chopped spinach, some frozen peas, frozen veg type stuff, then a few like frozen vegan products, except this is not a vegan product. I told her to get vegan mince. Usually I come with her to do food shopping. She was not aware that even though it says veggie mince, it has egg whites in it. So thanks, Corn, just make all your products vegan. They do have a few products that are vegan, including their fish fingers and chicken fillets, which you have there. And on the right there was edamame, dumplings, and other vegan goods from Asian supermarkets. Asian. On the bottom drawer here, on the right, there's some vegan ice cream of 2 different varieties that are stocked at like Australian mainstream supermarkets. And behind or underneath them are like some mango popsicles I'd made, which are just a fun thing to have in the freezer, and essentially just a frozen smoothie. That's frozen bananas I'm holding. Then underneath that is puff pastry, which I make a lot of orders for my lentil sausage rolls, so we often have that. On the left is gluten-free pizza bases, and below that, that's a lot of almond meal, which is really good to store in the freezer because that also goes off. We could just have it in the fridge, I guess, but we have a lot of it, so you put it where there's more room, and that's the freezer. This tray just has a lot of ice cubes, but I guess the thing of interest is these coffee cube things that I can make like mocha frappes with, or just iced coffees. Yeah, that's fun. So if we move into our pantry now, I know this pantry is very extravagant, has a lot of room, very lucky to have such space and like a whole room for food stuff. Yes, I'm very grateful for that. So on this bottom shelf we have like things like apple cider vinegar, balsamic vinegar, grapeseed oil, which is really great for baking because it's a light flavoured oil. Then there's some vegan Worcestershire sauce, which is kind of hard to come by. It's at like vegan supermarkets and Terra Madre if you're in Melbourne, and health food shops. Tamari is like a gluten-free soy sauce, and then tomato-y stuff, like just condiments, and a big jar of like passatory type things. Above this is just like flours and leftover noodles and baking goods. Sushi mat, that's like open packets of stuff. This is the not so interesting part of the video, I suppose, but don't worry, there's more interesting stuff to come. Yeah, it's just baking stuff, corn flour, all that. Moving on. So in this pull-out tray we have like coconut sugar. I use that a lot for baking, putting on porridge. It's a good, cheaper vegan sweetener type thing. There are coconut flakes that are particularly good for making coconut bacon. There's cacao nibs there, and then behind that there's oat flour, potato starch, teff, and at the back vital wheat gluten, which is really great for making seitan and fake vegan meats type things like that. I use a lot of different flours, I suppose, when I make bowls and baked goods and beer and stuff, so we do have quite a range of flours. This is just cereals and muesli and wheat bix, of course, we're Australian, and quinoa and buckwheat and coconut oil, which we mainly use for like greasing pans nowadays, and a ridiculously oversized bottle of maple syrup, which lasts us about like a month and a half. So, because I use it to put in baked stuff. This is like nut butters and jams and liquid sweeteners, so coconut, no rice malt syrup. That Justin's chocolate hazelnut butter is not as good as it sounds, looks. I wouldn't waste your money on it. I got it off iHerb. There's some dried raspberries at the back, which are great on ice cream and things like that. This is a supplement shelf that mainly my mum engages with. That's some like Harvey chew things on the left. But the main things I'll show you are these B12 supplements and iron supplements. I don't really take the iron supplements, my brother does. I take the B12 obviously, and this is protein powder that I quite like every now and again in like small quantities because I'm not really needing it that much, but that's the brand, and it was a coconut and cacao flavour. This is a miscellaneous shelf. This is where all like the vegan chocolate is kept, and in this we have ridiculously delicious, it's like a maple pecan type block there on the left, then like chocolate chips for baking, 2 different varieties. I think there was chocolate goji's in one of those paper bags as well, and yeah, we mainly get that at Terra Madre. Wow. That's kind of my mum's stuff, mum's biscuits, nuts, gluten-free vegan cookies. I don't really engage with them, but there's some Medjool dates and some Mary's crackers, which I do engage with. And moving up a level, this is like where all the spare stuff is kept, slash I guess cereal boxes that don't fit down below. This is a Mary's, oh I don't know, Barbara's, sorry, all these lady names I'm not really getting right. They were good for like making crispy treat things. And it was really simple on ingredients. That's like a vegan like flake cereal thing, also gluten free, and this is like a healthier version of, I don't know, some chocolate cereal that's really fun to munch on. These are like some crackers and corn crisps and brown rice bites, which are great with dips, and also like with vegan cashew cheese on them and sauerkraut. This is a new product, it's by Orgran. I really hope it becomes more widely available. It's like the vegan egg, essentially. You can scramble it and make frittatas and quiches out of it, and it works just as well, so keep your eye out on that if you're in Australia. There's some oats and like other stuff, but mainly those corn thins I use as a snack pretty regularly, and have cultured like cashew cheese on it, or nut butter, or I don't know, whatever else springs to mind. So remaining parts of this pantry, this is where we have like tins of coconut milk, like all the pulses, the lentils, tins of tomatoes, and young green jackfruit, which is kind of hard to come by, but when I do find it, we get it, and we pair it with like a healthier version of barbecue sauce. I'm sure you could make your own and that would taste fabulous, but I haven't done that yet, and there are some good like ingredient ones at supermarkets, so, or health food stores, sorry. And there was some apple puree which I use as like an egg replacer in baking ingredients. So on to the next shelf. I think that one's done. This one also has a lot of miscellaneous stuff. That's cacao butter, which I sometimes use in raw desserts, and there was some different seeds back there, which are sometimes good to make raw desserts when you don't want to use cashews. This is like a hefty supply of olives from our grandparents, and these are dried mushrooms which I like to use in broths and sauces and add flavour to savoury things. This is like some agar flakes, which is like a vegan gelatin, and xanthan gum, which is good in gluten-free baking. Miscellaneous stuff like plantain and chia seeds and couscous up here. And I think that's about it for this shelf. So moving on. Up here we have popcorn, hardly ever use that, should do that more. Nutritional yeast, soup ingredient type things, and dried mulberries, which my brother really likes as a snack. So this shelf has just a heck ton of spices, and I won't really waste your time on it apart from saying it's getting out of control, and this is the result of like trying to be tidy, but in reality it's just accumulating lots of spices over lots of years. Old Bay seasoning is great if you want to make like artichoke fish cake type things, and those are actually vegan, hundreds and thousands. I did look up the gelatin in it, and it's not animal based. Yippee! So it does exist, if you're wondering. Going up a level again. So these are all the noodles on the right there. There's like soba, buckwheat, udon as well, I think, and some gluten-free pasta noodles. We just kind of have gluten-free because, I don't know, it just makes us feel better when not strictly gluten-free. That's bulgur wheat for tabbouleh, falafel mix, spelt elbows, vegan gnocchi. Most gnocchi is vegan. Panko breadcrumbs for making things like artichoke fish cakes, really crunchy. Different brown rices, and more gluten-free lasagna sheets. And then we have some nori sheets and lots of rice paper sheets because that's like the best meal ever. Spring summer rolls, rice paper rolls. Yes, and I think that's like the extent mostly. Oh, there's the other stash of spices, really embarrassing, because someone thought they'd fit in those bottles that you see at the back there. Someone hasn't been in the kitchen and realised how quickly we go through spices lately. Those eggs are eggs from our hens in the garden. The rest of my family do eat them, I don't, but at least I can give them a pat sometimes, hey. So those are just where we put our onions and potatoes and sweet potatoes and things, and these bin slash vintagey old canisters is where we store like the leftover stuff, so like extra puffed grains and more nutritional yeast and cacao and oats, things like that. That's really handy, and it's like we have so much space but we're still needing more space through them. It's ridiculous and embarrassing, and that's where we have the spare like nut milks and gluten-free flours. And it turns out when you've got buckwheat and brown rice flour and chickpea flour and spelt, it can get a little out of hand really quickly. This is my sort of vegan cookbook collection, apart from that one. The rest of them are vegan, I think. Oh, and apart from the one on the right. If you want some inspiration for a Christmas present or something like that, take a browse. I pretty much recommend all of them, hence I got them. On the windowsill is where we store our avocados and tomatoes because they need to ripen usually and taste better non-chilled. So it's a nice sunny spot for them. And then here is a converted meat safe that we have that we put bananas and citrus in. Citrus actually tastes better chilled, but I think, again, they take up too much space when you want to make OJ from an abundance of them. But this sort of allows all the bananas to hang out together and ripen together for smoothies and banana cakes and things like that. So thanks for listening to this whole video, honey bunches. It's been like a hefty nearly 20 minutes, so you're a trooper if you have, and I'll leave it right here and see you in the next video. Bye!